box. He is hilariously bad at organization.
Who knows?
And he and I have something in common. Jen, I was raised to believe that I'm a messy person. So here's hoping that I will learn that at some point in time. And same thing goes for Matt. He is very snobby about word choice and grammar. He said to tell you everything is not awesome.
As long as you're done working on it. Yeah, that works for me.
You don't have to use that.
Because you can just turn your camera off and have yourself.
And quit apologizing so much. So, big round of applause for Matthew.
Kind of muted.
So I have an invitation for you all. If you're willing to play, my invitation is to go ahead and put your left pinky up against your mouth and go ahead and stand up for those of you who can't stand up. Those of you who can't, don't worry, you can play as well. This is the stand up part. So fear. One of my challenges with fear, you can go ahead and drop your hands. One of my challenges with fear is around not being enough. And this fear story follows me around. And it prevents me from truly connecting with those that I care about in life. It may be connecting with a partner. It may be connecting with someone at work. Or it may be connecting in a way that helps me feel more like a human, which seems like the past couple years, this is how I felt. A lot of energy trapped in my body in the form of fear. Was I going to die from COVID? Was I ever going to see my friends again? Was I going to be able to buy toilet paper? And these fears often prevented me from having the relationship that I wanted. Now, who here would want a secure, loving relationship? All right, we have a few good things. The interesting part about relationships to me is that fear gets in the way. And a lot of the time when I'm sitting down to connect with someone, I have to answer the question I have. That's the day, I'm tired, the vertical fear comes to control. And so with all that energy trapped, I've been searching for a way to move that fear. Here we have fear muscles. Dr. E. Hendricks has 4 different ways to move fear depending on what we're feeling. And for those of you who are still open to play, we're going to go through the book. The first one that's going to come up is to get a sense of fear. I need you to close your eyes. And I need you to 3 words. We need to talk. Now go ahead and open your eyes. Like me, you may be experiencing what this person is behind me. Like, we're going to talk. What are we going to talk about? And my initial thing is I tend to go into a freeze response, which is one of the 4. So I invite you to get into your best freeze response right now. You're frozen. Someone's going to talk to you. What's going to happen? And as you're tuning into this, I'm going to wait for the wiggle to come up. I want you to go ahead and start wiggling your toes. And see if you can start wiggling your legs a bit. Maybe your hips. And just see if that freeze feeling is still there. As we continue to wiggle, and we let some of this fear move. I see some really good wigglers in the crowd. I like it. And the interesting part is, fear doesn't move easily. So this. Who here has gotten into a fight around the dishes? You didn't do the dishes. Well, I want you to feel it in the energy. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to fight you. Like, I did the dishes. Like, there was no dirty dishes. It was your dishes. Like, what is going on? I want to go in that. You let yourself moving into a space of, I don't really care about the dishes. I'm not going to fight because my arms are moving, and I can't fight when my arms are moving. And just notice how your body is moving in space. I see some good oozers out there. I'm going to talk to you about getting notes later on. So that was a quick experience of fear mountains. But wait, there are 2 that we didn't get to cover. So on the next 2 slides, I'm actually going to walk you through what those 2 are. And then if you want to come practice with me later, I'll be up at the bar. So the first one is you have that flee response. So that's where someone tells you something and you want to run out of the room, kind of This ties into the shirt that I'm wearing, so it's very timely, in the sense of love spirits. So in that moment that you're spacey or you're not quite aware of what's going on, I think it's bringing in some of that Rocky Mountain energy, or imagining that I'm in a purple pool of love. From here, try to spend up to 5 minutes a day doing the fear melters. Before you're going to be in that intense encounter or that challenging situation, introduce some fear melters. See if the person you care about would be willing to do them with you. Again, these have been around for a while. Dr. Katie Hendricks developed them about 20 years ago, and I think this is the time to bring them back with so much fear going on in the world. My name is Matthew, and I'll be in the back if you want to wiggle.
He has written down on his questionnaire that his special skill is wiggling. But I figured I would rather show you than tell you. The man is a vibrator on legs. We're just gonna set that aside. Somebody else. I know you. What did we do? That was fantastic. He actually helped us out before the show even started. We did some of the fear melters. They're legit. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Now we have Bryce coming up to the stage to talk about creativity. By the way, this is new ground for me. We have another mom in the audience. Oh my God, we have 2 more moms at least in the audience. Heather traveled here all the way from Lakewood. We'll see Bryce on stage tonight. Heather?
All of these people here are members of the infamous 27 Club. Musicians, artists, and actors noted for dying tragically, often of suicides and overdoses, dying young and more specifically at the age of 27. Studies have shown there is no true statistical anomaly with celebrities dying at 27. What I can tell you, I believe to be true of all of these figures, is that they died too young. Why do creatives lean so much into the identity of the tortured artist? What would happen if we reframe creativity, not as a cross too heavy to bear, but instead as a good friend, by our side until the last natural days of our lives? For most of my life, I've struggled in some regard with aging. Over the last few years, I leaned hard into pushing back again in my life.
Oh, okay.
I created systems for most things in my life and became hyper-fixated on, in the words of Radiohead, having everything in its right place. A trend in folks with ADD is to push into corrective behaviors to the point of crippling anxiety and oftentimes bordering into the realm of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Poetry has always been a refuge. I've been inspired by the poetry community to never shy away from my truth, to see the opportunity to be authentic as a queering, and queerness is an antidote to shame. In my poetry, I could be as tangential and random as I wanted. I could talk about death, tigers, and Tokyo Joes, all in the same poem, and know that I would be received by my found poetry family. And it was wonderful. And then I began to heal. As I turned the page into my 30s, I found myself healing not through my poetry, but through conversation-based therapy, through healthier eating and sleep patterns, through meditative practices and healthier friendships. Everything was great, except for my poetry. I was suffering less, and I certainly wasn't tortured, but my artist had gone away. In my 20s, when I sat down to write, it would come pouring out of me like a train, desperate to leave a dark tunnel. In my 30s, that urgency had gone away. I found myself less a speed train and more of a mule, intentionally slow and steady, carrying these ideas to the top of the mountain. I was happy, for better or worse. I was tempted to lean back into my bad habits, but I didn't want to. At one point, I told myself, if being healthy means not being a poet, then I'm not going to be a poet. I didn't want to play with the edge anymore, but I began to realize there are so many different edges. I was deeply inspired by the incredible performance artist Marina Abramovic. Marina had lived her entire life sober, but she produced incredible, world-shattering art. What inspired her? I realized when Marina is suspended for what must feel like forever, in the air, vulnerable, on display in her humanity for everyone to see, why would she need to destroy herself? On the other side of the spectrum from self-destruction is self-discovery. What if we reframed the tortured artist as the evolving artist? What if creativity is born not out of pain, but out of the incredibly brave and necessary act of pushing the boundaries of who we are by finding what we truly can? In March of 2020, my partner Chelsea and Ochoa and I began to accomplish something that I never knew I would accomplish. At the early onset of the pandemic, we began to go outside and in defiance, howl loudly into the night. At first, I was a bit embarrassed. Who was I to think anyone would ever be interested in howling back at me? But they did. What started as a random experiment of pushing my own boundaries became a nationwide movement of people stepping outside with friends, family, children, and pets to howl in the face of never-before-seen circumstances. Our Facebook group grew to 600,000 members. Reports came in of people howling in all 50 states, over 100 countries around the world. We were interviewed by CPR, the BBC, and in 2021, we were invited to howl on stage at Red Rocks Amphitheater to begin their concerts. It was an art born out of sobriety and our own vulnerable need to connect. As for my poetry, it's never truly ever left me, and I have no desire to leave it. If ever I find I'm running low on creativity, I know that all I need to do is take myself on a date to the edge. Not to that edge that looks down into fire and brimstone, pain and suffering, but that edge that looks outward, into endless canyons of blooming flowers and evolving life. That edge where I know, if I give a good howl from deep in my gut, I will receive the echo of my own truth back to me. My hope is that someday no artist aims to be a member of the 27 Club, but maybe instead of the 87 Club, the 100 Club, the club of people who found their art in community and getting the help they need, and in doing what they never thought would be possible.
After no small talk, it's how we come backstage back here. Does it not feel like you've met one of the coolest people ever? One of the original howlers. So great. Abs update. It's now 3 to 2 abs. We are a little more than halfway through the second section. Period. On the subject of making it halfway through the section area, we are at intermission. So we'll be about 15 minutes, so feel free to step outside to grab another drink, to use any one of those 3 bathrooms. And yeah, we'll see you back here. Okay?
It's weird that you can hear it. I could even hear it in StreamYard.
I was trying to see if maybe I should mute it now.
Stop sweating. We're gonna bring it back now. I have a question for the gentleman in the back. When the intermission is done, is there a beeping noise that happens in the green room, sir? Okay. It sounded kind of bomby, but it stopped like right when it was done. Right now, it stopped, so we're fine. But there's anytime you want to like saunter, Hey, let's talk about the theater for a minute, shall we? Their website's up to date. Yeah, okay, first of all, big hand for letting us. For a second, I thought with was, wait, go back one. I thought that was a misspelling of with, and I was not silently going to judge it, I was going to do it. Anyway, let's go back to talk. The bug. I was really excited to stop. By the way, still 3-3, end of the second period. Bugtheater.org, and that's RE because we're fancy. Their website is up to date with everything that's going on. Tomorrow night is the 20th anniversary of the Independent Filmmakers Project. Close enough?
Emerging.
Oh, you just told me. I had a wine slushy across the street. I'm not a brain freeze. Yeah, so check him out. Also, one of our sponsors is Stephanie Bale. You might have seen her beautiful face up here. She is a realtor in the greater Denver area and is an amazing human on top of that. Oh, there she is. So if you're moving, looking to move, wanting to buy, just really want to meet a kick-ass human being, Stephanie is here in the back somewhere. So, yeah, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Alex. All right, so back to business. Our next speaker is Frank, and I know this is going to be a big deal. Frankie's mom, Shelley Lely, came all the way from Lakewood as well. Shelley and Heather, if there's something going on between the two of you, I'm okay with that. I'm just really excited there's so many moms. Who else here is like just a mom? Okay, we've got several of us. Okay, who here has a mom? All right, anyway. Frank is going to be talking about his mom, as you can see here. And there's some other fun facts about Frankie. Like, he's hilariously bad at pronouncing the word brewery. He said he legitimately would yell, "Okay, it's time to go to the beer place," to avoid using that particular word. He also shared that the Mormons own Ancestry.com, which is, somebody else knew. So that's how they can baptize dead people. I don't know. And then his childhood crushes were Riker from Next Generation and Mark Ruffalo, specifically from 13 going up 30. Okay. Also, that crush stands today, and he's still down if they show up and want to have some fun. Without further ado, allow me to welcome Frank. Okay, next one.
Happy Pride, Denver! I just want to start off with stating that my mom is gayer than I am. I wish I were kidding. This all started way back when I was a wee child, and my mother, excited about her recent motherhood, decided that she was going to dress me up in all of the most ridiculous yet coordinated outfits and shave my head so as not to have to deal with too much. I don't know if there's really anything gayer than that. It carries on into later teenhood, early adulthood when I disappeared for 2 weeks. You see, I had just joined the Mormon church. I was leaving the Mormon church. I had just decided to drop out of college and had decided that I was going to run off with my new boyfriend for 2 weeks, scaring the shit out of my mother. Don't ever do that. Just don't. To the point that I kept saying that I was with a friend named Steve. And when you talk about someone that has not been present in your life ever at all, your mom picks up on a thing or two, and eventually she comes out for you over text and says, look, I'm not concerned if you're gay or not. I love you regardless. If Steve's your boyfriend, just tell me. But I'm worried about you because I literally haven't seen you for 2 weeks. And I thought this was such a beautiful, beautiful moment for a gay son and his loving mother. What followed was a crime. Because just when I thought I couldn't get any worse, my mom entered her late life P-flag era. Rainbow flags everywhere. Coordinated bedazzle outfits at all of my gay men's chorus concerts, at all of my plays. She went as far as to want to go to a drag club with me. Wanted to go hang out with me at gay bars, Mom. Just really quick to emphasize how much gayer than she is than me, Mom. Clap the fan. There she is. There she is. Clap the fans are a crime against the heterosexuals, the homosexuals, and the greater public. Emphasis on why this is a problem, that my mom is gayer than I am. But it didn't just stop there. There was one day that we were having a very frank conversation about having attraction to same-sex people, and my mom openly admitted to the fact that if she had the chance, she would open mouth kiss Anna Kendrick on the lips. That is assault, mother. Anna Kendrick, if you're in this audience, run out the door. Do you hear her? Do you hear her? But then it just progresses to the point where I start to get like irritated. I'm like, all right, what can I start to throw at her that's going to give me like this gay like backstory? Because it's Pride Month, right? And all you hear is stories about gay kids who are banished by their parents, not ones that adopt their entire personality. We go to Hamburger Mary's for dinner, and by the end of the night, I shit you not, the manager of Hamburger Mary's asked her if she wanted a job. And then it gets to the point of 2020 where I meet my then boyfriends at some point to be husbands who are now my husbands. And I tell my mom that I'm polyamorous. She doesn't bat an eyelash. I come out to my mom last year as genderqueer, and she doesn't bat an eyelash. She celebrates me. She pushes me. She's there to take that exact picture of the day that I was proposed to by my husbands. She gives a shit. My mother, from the second that I was untimely ripped from her, I'm supposed to be a Scorpio, but I'm a fucking Libra. My mother, from the moment that I came into this world, was so desperately in love with being my mother that nothing is going to get in the way of that. And I just wish that every single queer kid had that. Especially during Pride Month, when we have to band together and find family because our own family, they don't want us. She wants me. She wants me to be happy. And she wants all of you to be happy. So if you need a gay mom this month, she's sitting right there. And I just say that because as we're entering these new eras of queer community and queer coming out, and things are getting easier, I just hope that one day no queer kid has to say that they never, ever have to say that they can't talk to their parents about anything because I can talk to my mom about everything. I'm Frankie Lee Freeman. You can find me as Harry Princess everywhere. And Mom, provided that she gives consent, will give free gay mom hugs and back. Mom, clap the fan one last time. There she is.
can be your mom, like legit. It'll be awkward. I will embarrass you. But you can ask my kid. They have a therapist. It's fine. All right, enough about that. All right, Otis. By the way, the score last I checked is still 3-3. This is primarily for Frankie and Otis, coincidentally. Okay, let's talk about Otis. Otis is very particular and very snobby and easily annoyed when military rank and uniform is displayed improperly on TV and movies because it's so stupidly easy to do it correctly. There you go. And when he was younger, he had a crush on Pat Benatar and Farrah Fawcett and had the posters up on his wall to prove it. He's a fantastic gentleman who is here, even though the Avs are like, seriously, I was worried. He said if this was like later, like game 5, 6, or 7, he would definitely not have been here. But he is tonight, and for that I'm very excited. Please welcome Otis to the stage. I lowered it? No, Frank lowered it.
I'm asked all the time, what's the secret to great leadership? And then one of my favorites is, how do I lead millennials? So the reason people ask me this is because what I do. I'm a leadership coach. So I think the real reason they ask me is what I did. You see, I spent 25 years leading the best of the U.S. military, the Green Berets. I led those men and women in some of the toughest, most frustrating situations that you could ever imagine. And I even had the opportunity to lead the best from our partner nations. And frankly, in some of those tough situations and frustrating situations. Then I got into the corporate world. Boy, did I learn a lot about leadership in the corporate world, a whole other aspect. But you know what leadership boils down to? One word, and only one word, and that is trust. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of trust that you have with your teenager, you know, that you do what I say, or you can't go out, hang out with your friends on Friday night. No, I'm talking about leadership trust and the 3 components. And I refer to this as the Trust Triad. Now, the first component, and the base of the triangle, if you will, is to trust yourself. You must believe in yourself and believe that the decisions that you make are the best decisions with the information, time, and data that you have in that moment that you have to make that decision. It is critical to trust yourself and believe in that because if you don't, your team will sense it. They will smell it. Because after all, we are all predators. We can sense that weakness. So we must set ourselves up to establish and believe who we are. We must, as the leader, believe in the decisions that we are making and create that hope for our team to follow and enjoy and pursue and achieve. When we have weakness and we don't believe in ourselves, our team won't be able to follow us. And I've had that experience where I've been in that team. I've been that guy on the team where the leader was weak. He was afraid. He didn't stand up, and he hid in his comfort zone of Taekwondo, ironically. And he wasn't the guy making the decisions leading the team. Me as a team member ended up doing it. Now, as Massinius Rufus said, you will earn the respect of all when you earn the respect of yourself. The second leg of the triad is to trust your team. Every member of that team is there for a reason, whether it's experience, talent, or skills, or all of the above. You hire them and put them on that team. You have to believe that they can do the job. Otherwise, why are they there? If one member of that team, you don't trust one member of that team or the team to do the job, then why are they still on the team? The other aspect of this, when you trust the team to perform, you allow them to do it a different way than you would. When you believe in the team and believe that they can perform, you give them the prerogative to do the task the way that works best for them. That allows them to perform. When you don't trust your team as the leader, you end up doing the job of the people that you hire to do the job, instead of doing the job that you're supposed to be doing. Lead. Now with these two legs in place, the third leg, the team trusts you to perform and do what's best for them. They believe in the hope that you're selling. They believe that every decision that you make is in the best interest of the team. They perform the task, every task that you assign to them, at the highest level of performance because they believe that you are serving them. With these three legs, we now have our Trust Triad. Now, a triad is just another name for a triangle, right? And a triangle is a structural compound that is used for construction around the world. It is extremely strong and viable for building everything from bridges to buildings. But if one leg is weak, missing, or broken, the entire system breaks down. When a leader follows and utilizes the Trust Triad, they establish flow in the action for their team and believe that the whole is greater than the parts. I'm Otis McGregor, and there's my contact information. Go ahead.
I was frantically trying to check the score. I don't think the next time period has started. Still intermission. Is it intermission? It's not, right? Are we making fun of me now?
No, that's a big goal.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay. I'm doing our next tonight when I will be talking about coffee. Woo. Oh, God, I messed up. Kate, do you have the microphone in your hand or in the stand? Do you know? I'm really asking. It's in the stand right now, but I can also hear it. Ah, okay. Did you say it in? Okay. Watch, that's normally what happens backstage. That's the magic of theater, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's talk about Kate a little bit. She is extremely bad at whistling. I would say you're like either you're a whistler or not a whistler. Like, is there an in-between whistling person? It's a sad whistle? I appreciate what's happening right now. That's awesome. And wait, there's more. When she... I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry. It's starting to think. Okay. It appears that Ignite Denver 38 has gotten away from me. Let's talk about Kate's teenage crushes, and Keanu Reeves. Right? Solid choices. She's going to tell us a little bit about her relationship with goats, and it is fantastic. So please, big round of applause for Kate.
So what do goats and greatness have in common? Well, we see them everywhere these days, even at the Super Bowl. And I believe that goats' way of being and their qualities are something that we can learn from. So tonight we're going to learn their secrets and why we're all a little obsessed, including me. It all started my love affair with a sound bath with goats. I looked up, I saw a goatee, and I started to smile, and I couldn't stop. And so an hour later, I realized my jaw was hurting. I wanted this for everyone. So the woman who created this reached out to me. She knew I was already life coaching with horses, and we started to do goat hikes and meditations in the Los Angeles area. People came from all over. We called it play therapy, and they were as giddy as I was. Of course, I had to try the goat yoga craze, and those hooves actually do hurt when they're in your back. But it's one of those things where I just focused on how fun and cute they were, and literally you can't focus on the yoga while you're doing it. So I had to meet baby goats. I had set an intention to adopt, and I got lucky to find a ranch in Longmont, Colorado, where I moved to. They were breeding them to adopt out to lovable homes, so I was so excited to be there for their births. Of course, I had to become a goat mom. Shout out to all the mom energy tonight. And so ultimately, I'm a double Capricorn. It makes sense that I would adopt goats. So this is the start of the goat family and obsession. So this is my first goat, Godiva. She lives up to her namesake. She is as yummy as the chocolate. She's super loving. She loves pets and cuddles. She's really kind. She's also really laid back and chill. So she helps people to get into that loving, chill space. Nettle was my accidental goat. I got her to be the Godiva's best friend. She lives up to her namesake of the plan. She is both mild and intense. And she's the leader. She used to be skittish. So she helps people to really harmonize their nervous system. And of course, my pride and joy Sparkles. I named her Sprinkles at first until I realized her name was actually Sparkles because that's her life purpose. She's our entertainer. She plays. She gets people laughing and smiling, and it's just a delight to be around. And then Gigi, my last goat, I had to keep when the ranch was changing ownership because she is so nurturing. She's Godiva's mom. And so she's really nourishing, and she literally is like the favorite grandma that you have. So I, of course, had to incorporate my goats into my life coaching practice, both in privates and in workshops in Longmont. And it's really because goats do help us to become the greatest version of ourselves. So here's a couple things I've learned from goats. They actually won't eat anything and everything. They're picky. People are fascinated by their eyes, and they see 360 degrees. They're a lot like dogs. They wag their tails. And it's not just goat cheese that comes from them, but cheesy one-liners, which you'll hear me share in a bit. So they really do teach a lot. They follow what feels good. So we can too. People kneel down with them. They become really humbled. They get people to remember to smile, and there's definitely ways to be goat-like. So what does it mean to actually be a goat? So this is the greatest of all time. And how cool is it that we now see goat emojicons like in social media where people are putting that with the leaders they love? It's because these people are embodying these really cool goat qualities. So to actually be a goat, you need to be uniquely yourself. You're inspiring awe and wonder in the world, and you're really dedicated to climbing higher in your life. The goats are naturally being this, and they're role models. Clearly, they like to model too, like Godiva there. So here's their qualities. Curiosity. They will literally get into anything and go for it, and we call it goat for it. So you can remember to do that if you're starting to judge and you actually want to stay curious and be open-minded. Courage. They're so brave and bold. They're super confident. Like this one baby jumps up on my mom. Again, mom shout outs. So they are super courageous, and they will say, if you're in fear, just go get done. All right, connection. They are super connected. Those are the girls, baby and mom. And literally, they take care of each other. They stay together as a herd. They, especially the moms and babies, they really truly love each other. So they will tell us to let's go together. And then joy, obviously playful. People smile all the time being around them, which makes me just really happy. And like Sparkles in particular, there's this whole energy of like getting back into play and being uplifted. You can headbutt, but it's okay. So I always say to Sparkles, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, all right, last one, I promise. So if you are interested and curious, they can really help you in your personal development journey. And just remember, you can go with this, you're a badass. And feel free to follow me on Kate Nelligan, Equine Coach, if you want to see the girls' journey.
Okay, so you can't whistle, but you can make a crazy good goat sound. That was amazing. When you said Godiva, I pictured a topless goat on a horse. It's back there. It showed up in my brain. I love Godiva. I loved all those pictures. I love that you love goats. All of these things. I could keep going. But I'm not going to because another amazing speaker is coming up. And happens to be one of my favorite people as well. You guys might have seen him on stage before or just heard him, or maybe he's just approached you out of nowhere and sat down next to you on a bench and started talking. He does that. And perhaps filmed you talking to him. He does that too. Jared Ewey is an amazing human being. He was actually the MC prior to me being the MC in Denver. And that's how we met. And I will stand by the fact that I think he and I are the same person, but his hair is on other parts than his head. Yeah. We shaved a bikini onto his chest and back once for a commercial. By which I mean his wife. We just laughed at it. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Jared. He's really bad at paying attention, so here's hoping he comes out on stage at some point. He's pretty snobby about his rescue dogs, and he had a crush on Joe from Facts of Life, which tracks. This is our final speaker of the night before our speed rounds. In fact, you are doing speed rounds, please come backstage now. But yeah, up until you see the speed rounds, be prepared to be wowed by the artistry that is Jared Huey.
Oh, thank you for coming tonight. Sometimes, something happens to you that's so momentous, you don't quite realize how awesome it is until I don't think there's music. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Where am I getting that?
Until it's fucking Van Halen. Let me just introduce you to the group here. Alex Van Halen on drums. You got his brother here on keyboard and guitar, and then you have Mike, the mullet, who's doing the bass. That was Sammy Hagar, who just screamed. I think they're cousins, actually. But this is the original Van Halen, just to show the cred to Van Halen fans. So there's Dave, Dr. Dave, the original singer in white, and then there was a riff, and they got Sammy Hagar, right? Everything's normal, right? They're still making hits. They had this song in 1986, Why Can't This Be Love? A global hit, except for New Zealand. They were like, nah, it's not love. But we didn't know how extraordinary this song was, this moment was, because the song was like camouflage and averageness. The song was actually the exact length of the average song in 1986, at 3 minutes, 45 seconds. But then, about 1 minute, 20 seconds in, something happens. So remarkable. It's almost like Sammy Hagar was sent from the future, like a brainy Terminator. So here you go. This is when he says it. What is that? Is that gibberish or genius? I wasn't sure what kind of dark herbal sorcery was cast upon us. So I went back to me in 1986. I'm not savvy enough to know what's going on. I actually look kind of moist. I did get second place in the beef cook-off, but I wasn't the 80s alpha I needed. So I Googled, and I found, look at this guy. Oh yeah, some data. There was a consolation that he and I in 1986 wore the same pants. And it made me believe, like, I know people, like my buddy Sean, who practically invented the 80s. And I asked him, what were we thinking? And he spoke not. He just looked at me with those eyes under that beautiful blonde umbra. And it inspired me to reach out to more people. I got on the socials. I was like, send me who you were in 1986. And people did. Beautiful people. How many of you were her? Strong people. Look at this fashionable fellow, Leif. Looks like he invented the Rat Pack. I got so many pictures of people. Like this guy up here, you're about to, I don't even know him, but Twitter. The 80s is the only time where we left the house with our shoes untied and fell together. And this guy, Morgan, this little boy who's grown up now, very scared by cameras apparently back then. His dad looks like the playmate of the decade. But that was the 80s. We were like rising confidence. Our hair lifting with how we felt. We were so stoked on our fashion. Our socks were at an all-time high. And as I'm looking at all these pictures, I'm like, wait a second, something's coming together. And then I got more 80s pictures. My brother-in-law looking like Anthony Michael Hall in real life. Taiwan, a veritable 80s queen with incredible hair like a sunrise coming out. Magma launching into the sky. And this is when I'm like, oh my God, Sammy Hagar. I call my friend Tim. And here she is in the 80s with so much hair she has to lean on her hand. Then a modern day picture's upstanding, bright, smiling, beautiful citizen, and then it dawns on me. Van Halen, I don't know what they knew and when they knew it. But these people stood the test of time. Graceful, elegant, arch, churches, athletic ability to music. They stood the test of time. And the only thing that told us that they were able to do the time standing of the test was time itself. All my friends here standing the test of time. And I am but just a small pawn in Van Halen's game. Was David Lee Roth kicked out because Sammy Hagar was the prophet? I don't know. More than 10 looking over us. Don't you want them to be your parents or your friend or something? Because there's warmth. These people, they know. They already know. Time already gave them a call and said, you did it. Because it's the only thing that let us know. Sean, I think he's okay there, but stood the test of time. The only damn thing we know is that Van Halen was deeper than we ever thought. But then I realized this is a love song to you. You king and queen of gawking in the mirror. You standers of the test of time. Goddamn rock and roll kick, I almost straight my pants. And that is my time.
I want to have a really fun moment. Who here was not born in 1986? Show of hands. It's like you were there, thanks to this one, right?
Sorry about the environment.
So much alcohol. I had like the blooming onion of fan. So like the top was like real fast. Why did I bring my phone out? And then, because that's what you do. Then the front was curled down and then the sides were curled down. I took, oh shit, 2 hours to do my bag. High school, I did nothing to the rest of my just this explosion of amazingness. Like, that always does. Or like when anyway, we're gonna have a night in Denver 39 in October-ish here. And really hope that, oh my God, this spelled bug theater. There's an extra cheese. I mean, no except.
We still have both of us.
Wow. Happy Pride. We're going right into the speed rounds now. For those of you that haven't been here before, or those of you that need to remind you who have been here before, what we do is we select a random slide deck from one of our speakers, and we bring out a funny person, and not the speaker. God, that sounded awful. We bring out a comic who does it on purpose. To actually, don't do the wine slushies before shows happen. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so they come out for the slides, and instead of giving 5 minutes, they have 1 minute to make up a spark based on the slides that they do not know they're about to see. So, that being said, also, I have to let you know, I give them free range to promote their shows because they're doing this for free. So, that you don't have to do that, just celebrate art. And let's welcome Kelly to the stage, please.
I'm not sure that any of my comedy is on purpose. Because that's what improvisation is. Improvisation, you say that. Okay. I'm Kelly Brewer. I'm an improver, and I am not a bee. This is scary as fuck, and so is that. But it reminds me of my grandparents who seriously would do that. Is this a warthog or a? I have no idea. And I just went to the dentist today. By the way, my teeth do not look like that, and did not make them look like that either. I would definitely grab a $100 bill, although I hear they have fentanyl in them now, so maybe, but maybe that would be better. I want that guy's phone number. And this is exactly what my brother did every single day of his life. That poor boy was always on his head somewhere. You are super, too cute. You are smart. Yes, all of you, but especially Frankie's mom. I want more of these, but I think they're counterfeit. This many together. Gifts are amazing. We give gifts a lot in comedy, and they're necessary because we don't know where we're going. So you have to give us a gift so we can find our way. Borscht. Really borscht. That stuff sucks. Have you tried eating that stuff? I haven't. This look, Texas and Vermont. Clearly they're trying to take you guys over. That's all there is to it. Texas has all the guns. They're heading there, and they're going to get ahead of Vermont. I absolutely look exactly like that in my pictures when I was a child on a river with my dad fishing. My dad gave us worms. He was a nice dad. And Maladrome Some. My grandparents were fabulous, wonderful people. They burned down their hunting trailer for the insurance money. Yes, I come from very quality people. Yes, indeed I do. Friday the 24th, I'm a team called Sharks and Wreck. We perform at Rise Comedy at 22nd and Larimer at 7 p.m. Come out and see some comedy mayhem. We get a little nuts on stage, so please come see us. Thanks.
I was going to say something about our talk, but it went so fast, I forgot. So, that's just facts. Our next speed rounder, her name is Allison. She actually, I put out a post to my comedian friend. It was like, will people come and help me and participate? And she was quick to respond and has never done this before. So has never been to a night before. So please welcome her very warmly. Allison, please remember, you can talk in the mic, but you can hold it if you want. Allison, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Oh, dogs are great. I love this because I'm also a Capricorn. And here's the thing, I just got in a fight with a Leo. And so in a fight between a Leo and a goat, a lion and a goat, who do you think wins? The lion, yeah, always wins, unfortunately. But baby goats are always cute, and it's not fun to get slaughtered by a lion. So keep on keeping on. Yeah, so he won. Goats are stubborn. The lions are fierce, and they will always win the battle if there is one. So that was a learning experience. Also, now I'm on to eat a whole lot more. Oh my God. The goat yoga is something that I've wanted to do since moving here. I'm original from Philadelphia. And so we don't have wildlife out there. It's a major city. The only wildlife we have is feral cats. And we have raccoons going through trash. And we consider that the local wildlife. So they're actually both really hard to find out here. But in terms of curiosity and courage, I would say that it takes a lot of that to make the connection. Animals can instantly know whether they like another animal just by sniffing them. But wouldn't that be so easy if people could do that? I mean, it's not socially responsible, but I have first impressions that are similar to that.
I asked her if she wanted to promote any shows, and she just goes, no. So way to make a good first impression. I'm just kidding. She's actually a student right now, and that took a whole lot of courage. And because I'm afraid of his mom, I figured she would probably want him to come back out on stage. And so Frankie is going to be doing our final speed round. And so you guys already heard all about it. I mean, Breaker and Buffalo. This joke just doesn't get old. Actually, let me say this too. I'm very grateful that you guys all came to the show tonight. I will drop that. This is every time I do this, I'm just so overwhelmed by our community and how people just keep showing up. And I don't know what the app score is right now. I'm sorry about that. But it's what? Okay, thank you, Otis. I want to make sure that all of you know how grateful I am that you come and how amazing the speakers consistently are and consistently blow me away, and how amazing our committee is. John and Ethan and Stephanie and Pete, who will be having a baby later this summer. Not all four of them, just the last two. Unless there's something you want to tell me, John and Ethan. But yeah, I'm sure that they share my sentiments. We're very grateful that you came tonight. And I've kept Frankie off stage too long. So please welcome Frankie to the stage again.
Oh, man. False. Actual image of me this morning. Actual image of me at work today. Listen, wet fish spells witchcraft. I'm into all that. You know what else I'm into? Men. You know what? I'm good at balls, but not those kind. I am actually good at sports, contrary to the flitting. That could be a picture of me from earlier. Crazy. I just can't block. Most people on Grindr and Scrub have blocked me. Myth. Me ever being a heterosexual. Mom, that's not my mom. My mom's right there. Y'all heard Mom clap the band. Mom clap, she doesn't have it. She's just waving. Good for her. I would never ride a motorcycle. Or that motorcycle. I'm too gay to ski. I can't keep my ankles straight. Fitness, I'm into that. I wear yoga pants. Learning about becoming more of yourself. That's scary for me. Be a lamp, I'll pray. Be a lifeboat, I'll sing. Be a ladder, walk under me and you'll be cursed. Ball mastery? Yeah. Oh, I do have a show. Kat and I produce a storytelling show here in Colorado. That's broad. Denver, called Tailspin, and we are now at Grandma's House Beer Place. Yes. Every second Thursday at 8 p.m. The next one is July 14th at 8 p.m. And I will let Kat say the word that I refuse to say.
Oh, I was like, moist. Only the best shows go out on moist. You guys have a great